Now, I'm going to walk you through the evidence and the law today, and it'll be clear that there's reasonable doubt all over this case. All over this case. Now, we're at the end of the trial here, but I want to actually circle back to the very beginning. The very beginning, jury selection, and remind you guys about that. Multiple days, started off with 200-something jurors, whittled it down, excuse after excuse, people couldn't be here, couldn't be fair, couldn't set aside what they heard, weren't willing to give him a fair shake. And we whittled it down to less and less and less, and we ended up with the 16 of you here. It's because we saw in you what we were looking for. Jurors that would wait until you heard everything. Jurors that weren't going to convict somebody based off of media reports. Jurors that weren't going to just look at one side of things. Jurors who had logic, reason, and common sense. And most importantly, jurors who had integrity to follow the law on reasonable doubt. Now, I'm going to walk you through the evidence and the law today, and it'll be clear that there's reasonable doubt all over this case. All over this case. They came up with a theory and they went to search for facts to support it. They didn't look at the evidence and say, what's the theory that points that out? They came up with a theory and they tried to find any fact they could to fit it. They were undeterred. Undeterred by the DNA. The DNA shows, and I'm going to go through it, she's holding the rock. She's a trillion level DNA on the unstained side. Undeterred. Oh, it must be because when she was blocking. Undeterred. The computer, I have to call Inuma again to say that sometimes the computer accesses these files. Undeterred. Still shows that he's looking at this credit card statement from 2018 to show that he has a financial motive, that it's cheaper to kill her than divorce her. Undeterred. Undeterred by the fact the eyewitness picks the wrong person out of the photo lineup. And still, she stared at him, looked into his cold, dark eyes, saw him very clearly. Picks out the wrong person. Undeterred. Undeterred by the bruise on his face. Or maybe it's dirt. Maybe it's dirt. Evidence should lead to theories. You don't come up with a theory and then search for evidence to spin it to fit your theory. That's what happened in this case. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go through just some of the law initially, and then we're going to come back, go through all the evidence, and then I'm going to come back on some other parts of the law.